Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of D Wray's Garage, where you catch me today en route to Tempe, Arizona to test drive an S54 engine. Now that might not mean a lot to many of you, but once upon a time I owned a BMW Z4M and turned it in early, meaning I had to sell it, and I've just rued the day I did. So now I'm going to check out that engine in a different chassis to see what I think. So stay tuned. And if I didn't buy it impulsively, maybe you'll be able to talk me in or out of it. The car we're going to look at today is an E46 M3 of the 2004 vintage, which I believe was the year they did the facelift. I'll have to double check my work on that front. It has 113,113K easy original miles, so it has some experience, and it has a few light modifications done by the name that's familiar to many, especially in the BMW environment, the Dynan or Dinan or Taycan. I don't know, whatever it's called. There's an intake, a stability strut bar, and something else. So anyway, we'll take a look as we get to the car, but that's what it's in the listing. Other highlights that stood out to me, it is obviously, well, it isn't obviously, it is a stick. SMG gearboxes. I did once test drive an SMG gearbox in an M3 of this generation and absolutely did not enjoy it. So I'm not saying they're good, not saying they're bad, but wasn't good for me. And so that's definitely something I was eliminating from that search. There's also a position that could say, hey, why aren't you looking at the E92 M3? And one, my nostalgic story from the intro was part of that, and two, I did own an E92 M3 once upon a time for maybe a year. I got the heavy convertible hardtop version of it, and so somewhere between having owned it, although wishing I would have had that carbon fiber lid, and just that S54 engine and nostalgia, I'm going to give it a try today, and we'll see where the wormhole goes. If you own one, tell me what you think. What are the highlights? What are the lowlights? And if you had to choose E46 or E92, what would you choose? Let's go see what I can do.
All right.
Is this decatted?
Sounds like it.
Just tell me where to go, where you normally take your drives, okay?
Yeah. We'll make a left right here.
Okay.
That's your driving face?
It's my driving face.
All right.
Get the driving
Let's
face.
get it.
It's not my old face.
Let's get it.
Hey Terrence, we gotta get off.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's running hot.
Gotcha. Let's pull over when we get off, and let's check the fans.
Yep. That's oil, right? And that's the coolant?
Yeah.
And you're right, it's just maybe able to clean that up later, we'll see. All right. Take a look. Oh. Spinning. Huh. Just leave it a minute and see if we leave any big puddles. All aboard?
All aboard.
Alright, so it's in the middle. So it's cooled itself down. Gave him no runway to work with. Look at that. Nothing. That's like, all right, driving face. Show me your driving face, everyone. Send me a picture on Instagram, D Wray's Garage, at D Wray's Garage. What is your driving face? No other faces, only driving faces. Terrence, the model driving face. So what's the verdict on the E46 M3? The verdict is the jury is still out. The coolant fan, or the fan up front, there were two fans, and the one on the interior of the engine bay was not spinning fast enough to keep the car cooled down. And so that caused me to pass the steering wheel and pedals over to Terrence to take back, because I didn't want to blow it up, and I certainly wanted to lay off the car on our first 100-degree day in some time here in the valley. So that was that. Other than that, you know, the car is pretty clean. It's lived a life. Camber on the front wheels is like 18 degrees. No, I'm just kidding. But it's probably 5 degrees. I mean, it's really turned in. It's got all the Dynon stuff. It's very much been modified, hopefully to good ends, and hopefully it's got some life left in it. I know the dealership itself has spent some time and energy in the engine bay doing upgrades, doing things like the vanos, doing things like the valve covers, the head gasket, all the usual suspects that you would expect to fail. The rear subframe has been reinforced, and there is detail from that. There was clearly a front-end collision at some point in its life, because he handed me the paperwork to check out the car itself, and it was a Mercedes dealership paint job on the car from 2012 though, so long enough ago, and clearly there's been no lasting damage from that. I believe it has a clear title. I've sure checked that before I would go back later. What I want you to do for me, especially if you're in the E46, E92, yikes, general BMW community, and you have some expertise here, give me your thoughts. I have time. Time is on my side. If I edit this fast enough and put the power in your hands, you can maybe help me navigate this journey. You've seen a little bit of the car. I'll post some of the listing just so you can see it. And yeah, let me know. I can go back next week and that fan will be switched out and life will be good. And if that's not the case, and if I really should run away because of something you saw, heard, felt, I tell you what, the exhaust is super raspy for my taste, but not an impossible or a hard thing to change out. So let me know what you think. Be memorable, be well, and to be continued.